Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to the Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes, the case of the Serrated Scalpel. Well, last time, we actually found the Serrated Scalpel, which is right here. This knife could easily be mistaken for a surgeon's scalpel were it not for the fact that the blade is slightly longer and its cutting edge is serrated, presumably to saw through an animal's hide. It may not be the serrated scalpel, but it's certainly a serrated scalpel, which is interesting. So we've got a few leads to follow up on. We found a diary in Anna Carroway's house, which is where we are now. Although Anna herself is nowhere to be seen. And there's the implication that in the pendant that Sarah, the murder victim, had around her neck, there's a letter that I guess proved who was the parents of Anna's child, who I think we've all determined is the mysterious little boy at the school. Good day, gentlemen. Forgive me for not rising. Please amuse yourselves while I complete this correspondence. One or two artifacts here that might capture your interest. A sheepskin document written in Latin, which states that the Magistrate Amici, Master and Friends of Balliol College, Oxford, award the baccalaureate degree to Jacobus Maximus Farthington. So this guy is a barrister who had left his calling card at Anna Carroway's house. A matched set of Royal Egyptian canopic jars from the reign of Amenhotep I, if that's how you pronounce it, with detailed depictions of which of the deceased's viscera were inside them. The barrister's robe and periwig are carelessly strewn on the rack. Both items are in extremely poor condition. A small quantity of surface dust suggests that neither has been recently moved, let alone worn. The rack itself is meant to look like it is carved from a single gigantic elephant tusk, but it is in fact made of plaster of Paris. This spherical map of the Earth is a 19th century reproduction of Leonardo da Vinci's classic globe, which the master built in 1515 shortly after the discovery of the Americas. Close examination reveals two sets of small brass hinges along the equator. Of course, it's a drinks cabinet. The two hemispheres separate along the equator to reveal a well-stocked spirit Tantalus, two kinds of sherry, a collection of glasses, and an antique bottle of very fine port. Titles pertaining to the development of common law are randomly interspersed among the proceedings of the courts of chancery. The peculiar de jure intelligentes and a handsome octavo set of the Justinian Code are represented. The majority of the library, however, consists of cheap French novels and bound volumes of the Police Gazette and Illustrated Weekly. A piece of cheap foolscap paper has been carefully preserved under glass and surrounded with a functional frame. A short cryptic note is written on it. It reads, "Jacob, I found some. See." It is dated 12th December 1886 and posted from Witwatersrand in the Transvaal. This low vantage point does not afford an adequate view of the bust to identify it with certainty. These library stairs allow access to the volumes on the upper shelves. From here it can be observed that Mr. Farthington keeps Sir Richard Francis Burton's just completed, unabridged and unexpurgated translation of the Arabian Nights on the top shelf, and that the bust beside the fireplace is of the orator Demosthenes. The artful manufacturer intended that this grey ceramic cylinder appear to be fashioned from the foot of an African elephant. The beast's toenails have been painted pink, since it is meant to be a coal scuttle rather than a dustbin. Since both coal dust and paper refuse are completely absent, it is not possible to determine which. Rendered in the richly decorative French Rococo style of the previous century, this 3-candle arrangement presumably provides all the light Barrister Farthington requires when the sun goes down. A gold foil box in the style popular during the reign of Louis XVI. Close examination of the painted and glazed enamel on the cover reveals, however, that it is a copy, no more than 20 years old. I will have that. A freestanding marble ashtray on a chromium plate base. It is filled almost to overflowing with ashes, spent matches, and the ends of small Dutch-style cheroots. A capacious easy chair covered in purple wool brocade. On the arms and back, the nap is fading from the fabric. The seat cushion is severely compressed, and the carpet in front of the chair is worn thin. A rickety oak veneer credenza of modern manufacture serves as the barrister's desk. It seems poorly suited for the purpose. Farthington's jumble of papers, briefs and letters are scattered about its surface, and a reasonably hefty volume would cause it to collapse. Mr. Farthington, what is your interest in Miss Anna Carroway? If you'll excuse me for saying so, sir, your manner is too blunt by half. In you come without so much as an introduction and begin interrogating me. No, sir, we shall not be able to deal on those terms. You can presumably find your own way out. My apologies, sir. No, thank you. Okay. Forgive me. My name is Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. We're investigating the murder of Sarah Carroway. At Anna Carroway's home we found your calling card. Have you seen her? With the exception of one time last week, not since she was in nappies. I beg your pardon? Might I know the status of your inquiries? We have some suggestive leads, though the murderer is still at large. We're now concerned with the whereabouts of Miss Anna Carroway. No one has seen her in more than 24 hours. Would you please describe your interest in Miss Carroway? At the risk of betraying the confidence of a client, I'll tell you a story that will, I trust, make my interest clear. Oops. I missed that. We'll look it up in Watson's diary afterwards. I took a notion to dig for diamonds in Africa. Carroway, whose wife had died in childbirth, was determined to accompany me. He gave his daughters over to the keeping of a maiden sister, and off we went. Once there, it took barely 6 months and a bout of malaria to convince me that the rigours of life on the veldt were more than my standards of comfort could accommodate. I booked a passage home. With luck, I was able to establish this law practice, such as it is. Carroway stayed on thinking his fortune was just around the corner. He died penniless. Over the years, the Carroway sisters remembered me with holiday greetings and such, but I never saw either of them until Anna called on me last week in my professional capacity. In brief, she retained me to research the legal procedures and evidence required to prove a claim of parentage. Though she was reluctant to provide me with any details, this much emerged. 10 years ago, Anna bore a son out of wedlock, whom she was coerced into giving up to the boy's father, Lord Bromwell. Ooh. Recently, she acquired some evidence that she believed would, in the hands of the proper authorities, legally reunite her with her son. She understood that she would certainly risk old Bromwell's ill will were she to expose this evidence, but she discounted the risk. She left, promising to come again 2 days ago, but she never came. I called at her home to offer my condolences for the death of her sister, and she was mysteriously absent. I frankly wonder, gentlemen, if she underestimated her position. I fear her disappearance may have a sinister cause, and you have said nothing to allay my fear. Let's just check that line we missed. Oh. When the Carroway sisters were just infants, their father and I were great friends. We had come down from Oxford together looking for adventure and ways to make our daily bread. After 5 years of serious application, we had found neither. Okay. You imagine then, sir, that Anna's disappearance following Sarah's death is more than a wretched coincidence? I say it may be, gentlemen. Nothing more. That would indeed complicate matters to an extraordinary degree. Your reputation is known to me, Mr. Holmes. Might I engage your services to assist me in finding Anna Carroway? When you untangle this tangled skein... Is that how you pronounce it? Skein? Skein? Skein. I think it's skein, isn't it? Bring Anna to me, and we shall both have reason to be grateful. I will try to understand what unfolds and do as my judgment bids. I hope that our interests in this perplexing case coincide. I am confident that our goals are the same. For now, our business is concluded. If my office holds no more interest for you, please see yourselves out. Do you have anything more to tell us, sir? Regrettably, no. When you unravel this tangled skein, I do like that word. Bring Anna to me, and we shall both have reason to be grateful. Very well, Mr. Farthington. I will do my best. For now, then, our business is concluded. Very interesting. Right, then. Oh, there's Toby the dog. I wonder if we can do anything back at the morgue with her other personal effects as yet. We haven't checked in there for a while. No, I guess not. That's fine. It was worth a check. Let's go see Toby. Old Sherman. Greetings, Sherman. I trust I find you well? Oh, it's you, Sherlock. What a surprise. And you brought Dr. Watson. How nice. I hope you've paid your fair respects to the animals. They always like to see old friends. Regrettably, we are not on a social call. We have need of your treasure's extraordinary skill. Ah, you've come for Toby then, and not a moment too soon. He's been moping around all morning. I believe he's pining for a feline friend that passed over into the great beyond. A good chase to be just the ticket for lifting his spirits. Poor old Toby. I should like to borrow him then. Thank you, old friend. Of course, Sherlock. And here, you'll need his leash. Though clearly a sort of bet, this badger is hardly tame. He continuously hisses, claws the floor, and bares his teeth when anyone, including old Sherman, comes within 10 feet of him. An excessively lean and wizened old man, his shoulders are hunched over, and his garments appear to belong to a person twice his size. He has shaved sometime in the last month, but not recently. I know the feeling. His gold-framed spectacles are perched on his mostly bald head, and their blue lenses reflect 2 tiny moons on his pate. The dog is an ungainly, brown and white, long-haired, floppy-eared mongrel, half spaniel, half greyhound, with a steady eye and a waddling gait. He is known by a select few to be the best tracking dog in England and perhaps the whole of Europe. Come on then, Toby. He's in there, Watson. I'd stake my life on it. I've never known Toby to err. I have vague memories of this bit being dangerous, so I'm just going to save here. I can't remember if you can actually die in this game. This unmarked oak cask has a standard 36 imperial gallon capacity. According to the ship's manifest, the Carthago carried a load of olive oil from Cadiz, but a simple sniff of the offloaded cargo indicates something stronger than olive oil filled those barrels. A tin pail with a thin rope attached to the handle sits precariously on a ledge. Queen Victoria was still in nappies when this window was last cleaned. The urban soot and grime of the Industrial Revolution have rendered it virtually opaque. It's too high, you can't reach it. Well, evidently we need to. So you can't do that. If all else fails, stand on a thing. Climbing up on top of the barrel, you see that this is a standard tin water bucket of the type used for swabbing decks. There's a thin rope attached to the handle. Okay. A small piece of calico cloth. It is dry and dirty. A standard tin water bucket of the type used for swabbing decks. There is a thin rope attached to the handle. Can we clean the window with that? The dry rag only smears the grime. If anything, visibility is now worse than before. Now we have a wet rag. Stacked barrels conceal part of the room. A plank has been propped up against the inside of the door to keep it shut. Further into the warehouse, two men are conferring. One of the men is wearing a top hat and matches Blackwood's description. He looks furtively around the warehouse. The other man examines a large pendant. Very interesting. Just going to save again. It is locked. Of course it is. Of course it is. Closer examination reveals that the side of the crate was recently opened and that it has been nailed tightly shut again. Have I got anything that would help with that? Nope. Is it the iron bar's time to shine finally? No. This once sturdy and secure oak door shows its age. The wood is beginning to splinter, and the area around the lock and latch looks much abused. The ship is a clipper named Carthago. It appears deserted. It's a hammer! A heavy bung hammer used by dock workers to hammer the plugs into the oak barrels. The man who wields this 16-pound tool must be strong and accurate. If he misses the mark, he'll shatter the barrel. That sounds like a thing I want to be carrying around with me. You can't do that. You can't do that. Oak casks with the standard 36 imperial gallon capacity. One of them is leaking greasy acrid ooze from its bung. It's obviously low-grade sherry wine destined to be served at some of London's less discriminating public houses. We can't leave now, Holmes. Our man is in there. We're fools if we don't nab him now. We may never get this chance again. There are 2 men in there, Watson. Neither appears to be armed. A frontal assault seems in order. Agreed? I am prepared to follow you anywhere, Holmes, but we better move quickly now or we'll lose our surprise. The plank is jammed against the inside of the door. I think we could force our way in if we had the right tool. Do you see anything we might use? This is a trick question because I'm already holding it. Shall I sacrifice my shoulder? Very game of you to offer, Watson. Very audacious, but no, that won't work. There must be something around here that we can use, such as this hammer that I'm already holding. Alright, here we go. Watson, a crime is being perpetrated in our very midst. We must apprehend the criminals. I will need your assistance. Stand at the ready. Stop right there, criminal scum! Lestrade is holding Blackwood at Bow Street on the charge of selling stolen property. While he is interested in how Sarah Carroway's jewellery came into Blackwood's possession, he's not convinced that there are grounds to issue a formal charge of murder yet. The man is a stupid and lazy cur, Watson. I swear he will drive me to distraction. Does he expect that I should do all his work for him? Perhaps your criticism of his handling on the Collins bungalow murder still rankles. The assertion that a reasonably intelligent child of 6 could have solved the case in half an hour did not sit well with him. Perhaps. Though it was true. His procedure was so sloppy it almost made me weep. So, Watson, it would seem a face-to-face with Mr. Blackwood is in order. What do you say? Lead on, Holmes, though I suspect Mr. Blackwood may have lost his tongue. Perhaps you can think of a way to make him talk. And make him talk we shall, in the next episode. So for now, it just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.